Hi kindergarten! I'm so excited to spend this time with you since we've been away for a while. I brought a friend with me today that I wanted to share with you. Let me get him, he's sleeping. Oh, he might be a little grumpy because he was just sleeping. This is my kitty Purrseus that some of you might have seen pictures of. Can you say hi, Purrseus? He's a big boy. So he's going to be sitting on my lap today as long as he'll stay on my lap while I'm going to be reading you a story today. Do you want to sit right here or do you want to go back where you were? He's going to stay right here. If he crawls in front of the camera, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to be reading a story today called In a People House. And I'm going to try to show you the pictures the best I can, but the sunlight's coming in, so it might not show you the best pictures. And this story today is written by Theo Lesieg and illustrated by Roy McKee. And a fun fact is we've been reading lots of Dr. Seuss books, and if you can see up here, there's a little picture of the Cat in the Hat. And this is also a story written by Dr. Seuss, but Dr. Seuss went by several different kinds of names. He didn't always go by Dr. Seuss. He also wrote stories under the name Theodore Geisel. That was his real name. And Theo Lesieg is actually Geisel written backwards. I didn't know that. That's something I learned that was new. So that's a fun fact. As we read this story today, I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions, and I want you to see if you can answer those questions on my story today. So again, it's called In a People House. And if you have a pet that you want to come and read with you, I would get your pet at this time, or maybe if you don't have a pet and you have a favorite toy or stuffed animal, you could get them to read with you as you read one of your favorite books. And I chose this book today because it's all about being in a house, and we've been spending a lot of time in our houses lately. So that's why I chose this story today. "Come inside, Mr. Bird," said the mouse. "I'll show you what there is in a people house." A people house has things like chairs, things like roller skates, and stairs. Banana, bathtub, bottles, brooms. That's what you find in people's rooms. Scissors, needle, buttons, thread, cup and saucer, pillow, bed. I have a pillow and a bed behind me right now. You might be sitting on your bed when you're watching this. These are donuts. Here is a door. Come along, I'll show you more. Here's a ceiling. Here's a floor. Piano, peanuts, popcorn, pails, pencil, paper, hammer, nails. I bet some of you have been eating lots of snacks like I have been. Since I've been at home, I've been eating lots of snacks. My favorite snack to eat is chips. Think about your favorite snack. Salt and pepper, goldfish, key, table, telephone, TV. Come on, there's more to see. You'll see a kitchen sink in a people house, a shoe and a sock and a clock, said the mouse. Bread and butter, window, wall, toothbrush, hairbrush, big blue ball. Baked beans, bureau drawers, and books, lights and lamps, and hats and hooks. Mirror, marbles, shirt and string, knife, fork, spoon, and bells to ring. Doll and dishes, teapot, trash, Look out below, I'm going to crash. And another thing, it's time you knew, a people house has people too. And now, Mr. Bird, you know, said the mouse, you know what there is in a people house. So that was a fun story. Now, I want to think, what is this story all about? Because kindergarten, we've been learning the main idea of stories. And remember, the main idea is what the story's all about. And we use the details to help us figure that out. So let's look back in our story and see if we can figure out what this story's all about. So I know that this story is about a bird and a mouse, and neither of those animals live in a house, or they're supposed to live in a house. They live outside, but they were curious, which means they wondered what was inside this house. So they came inside and they found all of these cool things that were in a people house. And then, at the end of the story, they said that there was people in the house, and the people looked like they kicked them out because they weren't supposed to be there. So if I had to guess what this story was all about, I would say it's all about animals being curious on what's inside of a house. And even though they're not supposed to be there, they went inside and they had a lot of fun, and then at the end of the story, they had to leave because they didn't belong there. So if I had to choose my favorite part of this story, I know. I liked the part where they were talking about the TV, because you know what? Since I've been home a lot, I've been watching a lot of TV. So I made a text-to-self connection, because whenever they said that there's a TV in the house, I have a TV in my house. So I've been watching a lot of TV, and just like maybe they did in this story. So kindergarten, I want us to think, when I was reading this story, there might have been some words that were a little bit tricky for me to read. And something that we can do when we get stuck on a word is we might use Stretchy Snake to sound out words that we don't know. Remember how Mrs. Eunice and Mrs. Beach have been working with you whenever we've been reading stories and we get stuck on a word that we don't know? We might use the pictures to help us. So I'm going to look on this first page here. And let's pretend that Mrs. Beach didn't know what this word is here. And it might be backwards for you. I'm not sure, but it's backwards for me when I'm looking at it here. But I'm going to write this word out, and I'm going to make it big. This word is S-H-O-W. And let's pretend I didn't know how to say this word. Something I could do is I could Stretchy Snake this word out to help me. I could also look at the picture, but you know what? I see that this word starts with an S, and I don't see anything in this picture that starts with an S. I see a bird, I see a mouse, I see a window, I see a house. Ooh, I see sky. It could be sky. So if the picture doesn't really help us, we have to think about what else we can do. So let's try and Stretchy Snake this word out together, okay? But first, I see something special about this word. I see S and an H. And you know that when an S and an H are touching, that's called a digraph. So I'm going to underline it. And when we see a digraph, digraphs make one sound. SH makes what sound? Can you think about it? SH makes the sh sound. So when I see S and H together, I always make the sh sound. I want you to think about some other digraphs that we've been working on in class, and I want to see if you can tell your mommies and daddies, or your grandmas, or your siblings, whoever you're staying with. I want to see if you can tell them some of the digraphs that we've been working on in class. Remember, a digraph is when you have two letters, you put them together, and they make one sound, just like shh. Now that we know that the beginning of this word is shh, let's see if we can figure out the whole word using our Stretchy Snake. Ready? Sh, w, show. That sounds like a word I know. Show. Let's read it and see if it makes sense. Ready? I'll show you what there is in a people house. Does that make sense? I think it does. So I think that word is show, not sky. If I thought it was sky, I would say, I'll sky you what there is in a people house. That doesn't make sense. So you always want to make sure that what you're reading makes sense. It's okay to reread it as many times as you need to, just to make sure that it makes sense. So parents, if your student gets stuck, I want you to try and work on those strategies with them this week, using stretchy snake and blending those sounds together. That's called segmenting and blending. And we're going to be doing some other activities that have to do with segmenting and blending, just to give you some more practice on that at home. So I hope you enjoyed our story today in a people house. And I hope that you guys read your own books. You can read a Dr. Seuss book, or you can read any book that you have at home. And I want you to practice those things that we did today. I want you to tell me your favorite part of your book. I want you to tell me the main idea of your book. And I want you to tell me the author and illustrator of your book. And maybe think about what the author and illustrator do. Remember, the author always writes the words. The illustrator always draws the pictures. And a lot of the time in Dr. Seuss books, not this one, but a lot of the Dr. Seuss books, he does both. He writes the words and draws the pictures. So I want you to think about the types of stories that you're reading, and who the author's names are, who the illustrator's names are, and what's happening in your story. I also want you to think, is this story fiction or nonfiction? Okay? So that's my question to you. Is this story fiction or nonfiction? I'm not going to tell you what they mean, because we've been going over that a lot in class. Fiction versus nonfiction. So I want you to tell me, that's my question to you this week, is I want you to read a story of your own, and I want you to tell me what the main idea is. I want you to tell me the author and the illustrator, and I want you to tell me your favorite part. And then I want you to tell me, is this story that I read in a people house, is it fiction or nonfiction? And how do you know? All right, so that's your homework this week for reading, okay? I would get Purrseus and have him say bye, but he kind of snuck out of the room. So maybe next time. And my other kitty, you guys know I have 2 kitties. She's sleeping right now too. They're kind of lazy right now. They've been sleeping a lot since we've had nothing to do. But maybe in the next video, I can get Iris to come and say hello. All right, so I enjoyed reading with you guys today. I look forward to reading with you again, and maybe doing some other fun activities. So I hope you guys are being active. I hope you guys are practicing everything that we've been practicing at school. And I hope you guys are being good for your mommies and daddies. All right. See you soon. Bye.